chaos! Bad luck for you! 'I've spelled your doom!
Future Revolution.
What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Revolution. And we are deep into Scarlet Witch countdown. I think we're on day 6 or something like that now. We basically just had this trailer that dropped on us with some skills from Scarlet Witch, and I wanted to just do a little bit of a breakdown. Number one, check out the uniform right here. I think we've seen this uniform quite a bit. I love this uniform. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Let's slide on over here though, because we get to actually look at some skills, and I thought the cinematic trailer for the introduction of her skills is actually really cool. Cool, especially in the fact that I feel vindicated. It's so fucking weird when you tap into, you tap into the game and you are looking at things that you just kind of automatically knew, stuff was happening. A lot of the skills that they feature in this trailer are very reminiscent of the current version of Scarlet Witch inside Marvel Future Fight, and I want to pull those up so that way you guys can see these skills again as we just take a little rotation through these skills, because it's very, very reminiscent, like I said, of what was already inside of Marvel Future Fight. Let's take a look at some of these skills really quick here. So let's go to her skill and let's go preview some of the skills that she basically has inside here. And you're gonna notice some very high similarities here from her basic little skills right here, where she's just throwing her basic attack skill. That's a skill that looks like it's in there. It's like it's in there. This skill not really so much, but it's weird because it looks like some of the stuff inside here. The number 2 skill, did I not say that it'd be cool if they incorporated this skill and you basically got this little bubble around her? And they did that. It's in there. Now, the 3rd skill, we don't have anything for inside there. I didn't really see any chaos shards like that. That doesn't omit this from necessarily being a skill in and of itself inside there. It could still be. Even her 4th skill inside here with the runic, summoning, that made it into the game. That is literally inside the Marvel Future Revolution game. And looking at her 5th skill, my blue stacks has been just messing up. This skill with, sans the hex devices over here, it also made it into the game. Like, for real. Like, let's take a look at these skills again so that way you can see them. It's weird. All of these skills are in there. There goes the bubbles, right, that I just showed you. Look at this skill that just comes in. She does the bubble skill. She has little summons in there. This is the one unique skill that I really noticed inside here. Well, the 2 area of this trailer right here is basically, you can see here the runic sigils that she basically summoned inside here. But as she goes inside here, she gets this like lightning attack. I guess this is going to be chaos magic. But notice that she charges up for the shard throw right here. I don't know if you paid attention to that. It's so fucking funny. It always nice to be right. It always, like, look, guys. Yeah, look. I can tell you this every way, every side of Sunday, and there's going to be the naysayers. There's going to be the people like nah, and there's going to be the other people that are like, oh yeah, you're just telling the truth. Especially when you're telling the truth, right? You can. This is about another skill that she basically had in there. I'm assuming that dark hold skill right there, while it looked really cool and it's like this big burst, I'm assuming this is going to be her ultimate skill, because she like flips open the pages right here. You can see that basic attack inside here. That is literally the basic attack from a Marvel Future Fight that we just saw, where she's just basically summoning hex bolts. So that's what they were pretty much inside there. And she did this inside the WandaVision show too. And Elizabeth Olsen, oh my God, is that girl? Oh yeah, Jesus. She does such an excellent job inside that role. But you get to see this summoning, and she basically summons the Darkhold and then just has this burst of magic energy that comes out. I'm dying to see how that skill looks. My concern about the skill is unfortunately, like a lot of things, and especially even Doctor Strange, that is going to end up taking a long time to cast the skill, and she's going to be open for attack inside there. I mean, just inside the trailer, you can see it took like a good 4 seconds for her to get into attack phase, because she's literally opening up the pages of the book and the pages are flipping, and then finally the burst inside there. They need to do something about the attack animations in here to speed them up, so that way you can cycle through these skills. Marvel Future Fight has already figured this out. There's an attack speed stat in there, so it speeds up the skills anyways. I think overall though, it's going to be an interesting day for Scarlet Witch to get released. Like, there goes that one skill where I said they're probably going to do something where she has that bubble surrounding her and it's going to form the protective barrier, and it simply is there. Like, you don't have to really look too much further than Marvel Future Fight. There goes the sigil summon that I just basically showed you inside Marvel Future Fight. You don't have to look really much further than Marvel Future Fight to see some of the mechanics for some of these characters inside here. Whether the skills are reflective of that is a whole other thing in and of itself, but it's kind of cool. You know, I'm really digging on it. I'm liking it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things that I'm definitely enjoying. Now, I didn't just do this video just because we got new, you know, Scarlet Witch, you know, information inside here, and that she's finally upon us. It's going to be, I wanted to bring up an interesting point or an interesting discussion with you guys. My man King did a video today about the current status of the game, its monetary status, which is the most important thing. Go check out King's video. He constantly does these videos where he takes a look at the monetary influx across Apple and Android devices, with the total number of downloads and the amount of money made within the month in the span. And we're seeing somewhat of a decline where the game has dropped probably about 200,000 lower than $1 million in terms of revenue. Now, that might not seem like a lot depending on what the resources are that they're generating towards the games, but the game's actually making less money right now than a game like Marvel Future Fight. Granted, Marvel Future Fight is going upon its 7th year anniversary, but that is there's something to be said about that, right? Marvel Future Fight is in its 7th year. So the developing studios over there, they have an idea about what's happening with the game title and the license and the ebbs and flow of their game mechanics. I mean, of their revenue and their generation sales. Meanwhile, the question is whether or not the revenue sales will continue in the trends that they are from Marvel Future Revolution, or whether they will continue a downward trend. I particularly do not see the game getting shuttered unless that downward trend happens consistently over a quarter. That's not to say that the game isn't, you know, just kind of stale right now, because it is. Will Scarlet Witch bring an influx of characters? I think the bad thing with Marvel Future Revolution, specifically with its introduction of new characters that's different than a game like, say, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel Future Fight, and so forth, is that when you get a new character, players want to build up that character, feel the power of that character, and be able to play new content with that character. Unfortunately, the one thing that Scarlet Witch is going to do for the game when she is released is she is going to point out problems with the game, especially as we move into this new squad-based economy of building up multiple characters. Is that Scarlet Witch is just going to show the inequities, because you're going to be able to have, you know, well-tier players make the switch over to Scarlet Witch and be able to play her in all this full-blown content. Meanwhile, there are going to be a lot of new players who are going to come to the game, want to build up a Scarlet Witch and play, but they're not you're literally talking about 10 months out for them to have access to a character that feels powerful and feels like it could just clear content, you know, willy-nilly and compete in some of the PvP modes and stuff like that, right? Like my man Q Hef pointed out, he was like, you know, lifebloods of some of these games do revolve around PvP. They incentivize players to push and purchase things inside the shop. And unfortunately, in this game, there's like the amount of money that you have to spend to push and purchase inside the shop is going to be detrimental. And I think it's going to even be worse when players realize that the transmutation for this character is not going to be available to you. Meaning that, you know, if they go the same route that they did with magic where costumes are not transmutable because they're trying to make money off the characters being, you know, bought into like that, I think is going to represent an even bigger problem for the game, because basically what you're going to have happen with Scarlet Witch is I do believe that she's going to offer a very good injection into the game. Like I told my girl, I was like, yo, they got Scarlet Witch coming to the game, and she was excited. And she was like, maybe I might have to start playing the game, because there are a lot of people, females and males, who identify with this character. She had one of the most popular sayings inside the Marvel Comics, no more mutants. WandaVision show was very, very well received by the public in general. Elizabeth Olsen has done a great job inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe with bringing this character to life. So I think that she's far more popular than people will give credit. The problem is that I don't know how much she will allow a sustainability to the game. You know, basically looking at the game, you want to be able to say that that she's not going to point out the problems with the game. The bottom line is that Marvel Future Revolution's marketing team needs to figure out their store. They are asking not only the store, but the fodder system as well, what you're collecting, because it's not at a point, like one thing I'll hit my boy King on is he did a video recently. He's like, yo, start preparing for Scarlet Witch. It doesn't make a difference if you start preparing for Scarlet Witch this week. You're never going to be able to, you know, get Scarlet Witch maxed out in a week. You're not going to make her a competitively viable character in a week. You'd have had to been, saving up for this character for a couple of months in order to have the potential reports, the specialization, radium conversions, the training time tickets, and things like that in order to level this character up. That's the bad part, is that players want, I do believe there needs to be a delicate balance between players being able to just like, boom, max OP power level with the character on day one versus, you know, hey, 2-3 weeks out, it's going to take you some time. But if they're going to slow build characters being injected into the game, that's going to represent a big problem as well, because there's going to be some really low dips inside player production when the content's not there. The characters aren't going to be enough just to carry. And I think that's like, you know, Marvel Future Fight should have been a good barometer for them to understand that. So it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to her. She'll probably more than likely become my 4th character build inside the game. But you guys let me know, what is she going to do for you? What is she going to do for your account? Do you feel that she's going to be bringing other players back? These are good questions. I hope you guys get it. This is a really good trailer, Marvel Future Revolution. I really appreciate it. Until next time, guys. Peace.